do you know if your exercise is too hard or too easy? How do you find that sweet spot? So I'm Dr. Nelum, and I'm a GP from Whole Food Revolution.
And I'm Ronit, I'm a happiness coach. And today we're going to talk about finding that spot.
That sweet spot.
Yes.
So Ronit, you know, I've always been somebody who's exercised.
Yep.
And for many years, I exercised very hard. And I exercised hard and regularly until I got to my 50s, when I realized it was too much. I knew it was too much because I was getting angry. I was getting snappy and irritable. From running, that used to always be my stress relief. And I realized it was too much for my body. And then in my early 50s, late 40s, early 50s, I switched to doing Pilates, which was great. It was such a lovely form of exercise, which to this day I do. But I realized over the years that that wasn't enough, because despite doing that, I wasn't getting strong, and I felt that I was still gaining weight. I mean, some of it was the menopause, but I feel that I have found that sweet spot now, and I think the science of it explains it really well. Yeah. And this I found this through a book that I read, and we discussed a while back, called Unbreakable, by Dr. Vonda Wright, who writes. She's an orthopedic surgeon in the US who specifically writes about longevity for postmenopausal women, which is huge because very few people write about this. So what she says, and then the explanation is amazing. The explanation I got from Ben Bickman, which was amazing. So
I love him.
Yes. So what she says in terms of aerobic exercise, so there's all kinds of different exercises. We're going to stick to aerobic for now. Is that women in our 40 and above should really be exercising, doing kind of mainly kind of that brisk walking, running, brisk jogging, swimming, dancing, whatever they decide to do, that just elevates their heart rate a little bit, where you can still talk in sentences, but you just feel that slight sense of puff. So that's 80% of the time, that's what you should be doing. But for twice a week, for short intervals, for a short, as in 30 seconds,
wow,
you elevate your heart rate to the maximum possible, just for 30 seconds. And you then, so it's what we call interval training. So you do 30 seconds where you really push yourself, and then you bring your heart rate down again to that what we call zone 2 training. So where
it's a little bit puffy, but not
yes. So that, and you do that 4 times. So that like this a cycle of 4 times. So 30 seconds, but you need to work
push.
You need to work hard for that 30 seconds. And the benefit here, what the science says, is that this activates the hormone adrenaline, which is one of our stress hormones, but it is activated for a very short time. And because it's only activated for a short time, it doesn't activate your cortisol, which is your long-term stress hormone.
And this is when, when I started,
yes.
I remember that people said to us that when I started the keto back then, they were debating. So some people says, yeah, you can start exercising as usual, and other people says that no, you may, certain exercises are going to increase your cortisol.
Yes.
And then when you increase your cortisol, then you cannot.
Yes.
You lose weight.
Yes, that's right. And so the difference here is the adrenaline is a short-acting hormone. It doesn't last forever. If the stress on your body continues, that's when you start making cortisol. And long-term cortisol, as we've talked many, many times, Ronit, puts on weight, particularly around the middle. But adrenaline, it's
a good one to have.
And it also, what it does is it actually helps to reduce that visceral fat, the fat inside an organ fat. So it's a really good balance, that kind of working along, kind of the baseline at 80%, at that zone 2, and then working really hard twice a week for 4 30-second intervals, which is really doable.
It's very easy. So basically, from what I understand, is that we do need movement, we do need to exercise, we do need to increase the heartbeat a little bit and so on. It's really, really important for us. But if we want to attack visceral fat, which is the fat that we have inside
and in the organs,
which are really, it's really,
very
really not
damaging,
healthy for us,
highly inflammatory,
then we need to do this by using adrenaline. And adrenaline is what comes before the cortisol.
Yes.
And if it's 30 seconds, then the adrenaline is activated.
It does what it has to do. And also the other thing, Ronit, this is what we call a hormetic stress. So hormetic stress is a stress that we voluntarily put ourselves under that is not going to kill us. It's a
we know ahead that it's short.
It's short, but it makes the body more resilient. So and we've talked about that, right?
Resilience is something that's really, really important for the body, because the body knows that whenever we're strong, that's what we call resilient. Then we need to train the body to meet challenging situations and conquer them. Yes. It's like I've heard it recently that if you see a horror movie, then you're very, very scared.
Yes.
But if you see the horror movie again and again and again, you get to a point where you know what's going to happen. You're not really, really scared. So it's the same thing. And we talk in psychology, we talk about exposure, which is the way we're doing it. And what we need to do is we need to expose ourselves to situations that
are hard.
Exactly. But we know it's a safe thing, because we know it's going to finish in about 30 seconds.
Yes.
It's not a cortisol that we don't know when it's going to end.
Yes.
And most of us are actually in that state sometimes most of the day.
Yes.
But adrenaline is a very, very good one. It comes in a short way. You know ahead, and you develop this.
Yes. And also the fact that by training yourself for these things, then you also train your mind.
Exactly.
Right.
And you know that there is a psychologist who discovered we call him the father, is Mihalovic, and he basically came up with the concept that we call flow. And flow, based on what he claimed, is a fine balance between too hard and too easy.
Yeah.
And what he says is that humans in general, I mean, he wrote a lot about children, which is, it was fascinating, that if you introduce something that is challenging, then it moves them forward. But if it's too challenging, then they won't stay there for a long time. And if you introduce something that's too easy, then they lose interest really, really fast. So basically, in order for us to move forward, this is how we grow, this is how we evolve, this is how we become strong. You basically do it with a bit of a challenge, but not too easy. And this is the way, I mean, it's very easy to explain this by going to the gym and weightlifting.
Yes.
So you cannot have strong muscles. So think about the mind as a muscle. Okay? You can't have strong muscle if you're constantly picking up 1 kilo.
Yes.
It's like, it's easy. You cannot build, you have to have some resistance. You have to have some resistance. You have to have a bit of a challenge. So we're not telling you go to the gym and start, lifting 50 kilos. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that find out where you are
and challenge yourself.
And exactly. And then move a little bit higher, a little bit higher.
Because that challenge that you put your body through also trains your mind.
Exactly.
And for then things that are coming ahead, because who knows what's coming ahead, we will be prepared.
Yes. So if you do like what we're doing here in Whole Food Revolution, we would like you to spread the word. So please like, subscribe, and share.
Bye.
Thank you.